Chapter 17. Zoe leaned against the kitchen counter and closed her eyes for a moment. Half the griffin cubs were back, but she certainly didn't feel half as stressed. Either I left the gate unlocked by accident, or someone snuck over to the enclosure later and unlocked it on purpose. She wasn't even sure which one she wanted to be true. Zoe, Kiko called from upstairs. I know you're down there. Your stupid Skype is like freaking out. Get up here and turn it off. It must be Ruby, Dad said, looking up from the grapes he was chopping for the salad. Tell her we said hi, and no, it's totally fine that she never Skypes or emails us, and we look forward to her next call when she runs out of money for all those textbooks she'll never read. Do I have to talk to her? Zoe sighed. Last time she spent the whole call explaining why even a senile basilisk would appreciate it if I wore heels now and then. I'll finish setting the table, Blue said, with his lucky to be an only child grin. Zoe hurried up the stairs. She could hear Skype pinging and blooping away on her laptop. In their room, Kiko was sprawled across her own bed, glaring at her math homework. Her long braids were clipped up so they looked like 2 extra ears on top of her head. Shut that thing up, Kiko snapped. My day was great, thanks, Zoe said. And yours? Oh, witty, Kiko said, and original, like your fashion sense. She closed her math book and pointedly stalked out of the room. Thank you so much, universe, for giving me 2 impossible sisters. Ugh. Zoe sat down at her desk and clicked on the answer with video button. Immediately, Ruby's face popped onto the screen, leaning in toward the camera. Ruby's eyes were fixed on the lower corner of her screen, where she could see herself on video, and she kept adjusting her head tilt to look as cute as possible. Hi, Ruby, Zoe said, trying to sound upbeat. Hey, your hair is blonde again. Ruby's asymmetrical pixie cut peaked on one side of her head. Heart-shaped rubies dangled from her ears, and a tiny ruby glittered in her nose. Zoe knew the earrings had been a present from Jonathan on Ruby's 17th birthday, but the epic tragedy of their relationship apparently hadn't stopped Ruby from wearing them. Zoe, what did you do? Ruby demanded. She squinted at the video screen. And are you wearing flannel again? Didn't we talk about this? We're about to have dinner, Ruby, so stop right there, Ruby said. Dinner? How can you even think about having dinner when those griffin cubs are out there? Zoe took a deep, calming breath that didn't calm her down at all. There was only one person who would have told Ruby about the missing griffins. Matthew, why would you do this to me? It's okay, she said. We got 3 of them back already. Yeah? Ruby checked her teeth and rubbed a bit of lipstick off one of them. Where were they? The library, the bank, and Zoe couldn't think of a lie fast enough. And this guy Logan's house. Who's that? Ruby asked. Logan? He didn't see anything, did he? He's just a guy in my class, Zoe said. He's kind of helping us. He can hear the griffin cubs, Ruby. It's pretty amazing. Oh, no, Ruby said, jabbing her finger at the screen. No, sir. You know the rules, Zoe. I don't care how cute he is. You don't want to get your heart broken like mine, do you? Zoe was really tremendously over hearing about Ruby's heartbreak. I never said he was cute, she protested. It's not like that. I barely know him. He's been useful, that's all. But you're not going to let him leave knowing about the menagerie, are you? That's ironic. Ironic and unfair, Zoe thought bitterly. Ruby, I have to go to dinner. She reached for the mouse. Zoe, Ruby yelled, do you have any idea what's at stake here? Do you know what'll happen if Snappa finds out those cubs got loose? Of course I do, Zoe said. They'll shut down the menagerie. I don't want that either, Ruby. It was true. As much as she sometimes wished for a normal life, she would never risk the menagerie for anything. It's not just that, Ruby said, a little triumphantly. Mom and Dad don't want you to know, but I think you should. Ever since that whole thing in the Amazon last year, Snappa policy is to terminate any escaped creatures on sight. Zoe froze with one hand on the mouse. She felt like all the air had been sucked out of her. Exterminators? She said. You mean they're real? All I know is the new policy, Ruby said. If they find any griffin cubs outside the walls, they'll kill them. They might even kill the ones you already brought back to make sure they don't cause trouble again. That doesn't make sense, Zoe cried. They're a protection agency. It's right there in the name. Protecting the secret of all the animals is more important than keeping one or two alive, Ruby said, shaking her head so the earrings flashed. And if they find out about your boyfriend, it'll be much worse. Who knows what they might do to him? I totally understand your feelings, Zoe, but you have to be strong, like I was. It's nothing like Jonathan, Zoe said, irritated. Logan is just a friend, and he's not an enormous thieving jerk either. You can talk to me, Zoe, Ruby said. She tilted her head and put on her concerned older sister expression. Obviously, I understand what you're going through better than anyone. You really, really do not, Zoe said. Well, okay, Ruby said. I mean, I never lost any of the menagerie animals, so that part I can't relate to. But I do know what it's like to give up something you love. She sighed dramatically. Goodbye, Ruby. Zoe clicked off before Ruby could make her feel worse, and then closed her laptop so Ruby couldn't call back. Was it true? Would Snappa kill the griffin cubs if the agents found out they'd escaped? Zoe rubbed at her temples, trying to erase her headache. And what would they do if they found out about Logan? Or what if Logan went home tonight and told someone about the Griffins, even after promising he wouldn't? How much did she really know about this guy anyway? Could they trust him with something so important? She went slowly back down the stairs, studying her dad from above. He'd been acting surprisingly calm about the Griffin escape. He and Mama had been so busy with all the other snap affixes they had to get done. But now that she looked, she could see that his hair had gotten crazier as the day went on, which was always a bad sign. It poked up in wild tufts all over his head, and he wasn't whistling over the salad like he normally would be. She glanced at the bread box and then out at Logan, who was talking to Blue in the living room. I like him, but he's a liability, she thought, like Jonathan. As long as he knows about the menagerie, everything here is in danger. Maybe I can't get the Griffin cubs back right now, but at least there's one thing I can do to protect us all.